Many of you, like myself, are aware of alien technology in regards to the craft that they fly in. You know, they're called UFOs, but alien UFOs. And there's still some people out there that are really scared of this idea and frightened. And they even leave hateful comments because it just scares and frightens them so much they just want to block this out of their mind and they don't want to believe this. And this has a lot to do with Hollywood movies, because Hollywood movies have brainwashed people into thinking all aliens are evil, which is certainly not the case. They're highly intelligent beings. And what I want to talk about in this video, for those that are scared to death of aliens and UFOs, you might not want to watch this because this is going to be very revealing and very intriguing information that I'm going to disclose here. But it's something everyone should know about, and hopefully the government is moving forward to where they will disclose this information to everyone, so make everyone aware of exactly what's going on. There's no reason to be afraid. But in this video I'm going to talk about evidence in regards to Stephen Paddock, the supposed gunman that shot up everybody in Las Vegas. Now, of course, you know my theory, and I talk about multiple shooters, and there was a agenda here. It was a thing that was going on. It was a gun deal gone bad involving the FBI on a sting, but that's another story there that I'm talking about. But certainly it's possible that before that happened, Paddock may have let his frustration out. He could have done some shooting himself. And it's very possible that he took his frustration out on what his involvement with his job in Lockheed Martin and everything that he learned and observed and became known about. And that's certainly possible because some people can handle things and some people can't. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video here. But yeah, he worked for Lockheed Martin. Most of you know that by now. This is a government company, of course. They're very close related to NASA. Lockheed Martin, NASA is very interested in aliens and UFOs. We all know that. There's a lot of secret things that haven't been disclosed, but, you know, that's the way it is. And so, right here, you see this picture right here. Former Lockheed Martin engineer said he spoke with aliens and has pictures to prove it. And this is another gentleman that worked for Lockheed Martin, and he had contact with aliens. So the question is, did Paddock have direct contact with any aliens? Because he had the, you know, those strong government ties and good clearance. He worked for Lockheed Martin. He was in contact with NASA. He worked for the government. So yeah, there's that possibility. Now some people can handle things and some can't. Did he have frustration because he couldn't block out of his mind his shock that he actually talked to and encountered a real alien from another area outside of the world that we live in? That's a possibility. Like I said, some can handle it, like myself, I can handle it. I think it's just wonderful, intriguing, mesmerizing, interesting. It drives my desire to learn more and to experience and get to know and find out more about beings that are intelligent, very intelligent. And many come here to offer guidance and help, and also protect our Earth from nuclear disaster. That's why they shut down a lot of these nuclear facilities when they're seen around that area. And we also know that there's many people in very high ranks of the government, both in the past and present, that have come forward and revealed that aliens and the craft, their UFO, are real. The evidence is beyond overwhelming. I mean, if you really have done any research in regards to aliens and UFOs, you will have no doubt that they exist. Some people living deep in the woods, they block their mind, they're scared to death, they're paranoid, and they just don't want to believe. And some people probably leave some comments, and I get it, you know, I understand, you know, it's just a thing you got going on there. But the real deal is they are real, and they do exist, and they do visit Earth. There's no doubt about that. And like I said, if you don't already know that, just go do some research. The people that have come forward, very credible witnesses, the pictures, the videos, I could go on and on. Even NASA astronauts have come forward and verified it. So, you know, it's just a lot of people, including myself. But, yeah, this is what I want to talk about here. Right here, NASA's talking about aliens and stuff right here. You know, they're very interested in it. The government's interested in it. The government wants to, and the reason that the government, whenever you have a UFO crash, the reason that they secure in the area and block it off from public and all, they want to get every piece of debris, that craft, everything, because they're going to take that to somewhere like Area 51, possibly S4, and they're going to break that thing down and they're going to try to reverse engineer it. They have highly intelligent engineers that are very knowledgeable in reverse engineering, and that's what they do. They take this thing apart, they look at it, and they're trying to put it back together to figure out how it was created so they can make our own aircraft like this. And why would we want to do that? Because if we can create highly sophisticated aircraft like the aliens have, then we have a huge air superiority over the world. And we all know that the United States is all about having power and strength to protect the people and also to defend our country, right? And so you would see why they would be very interested in alien craft, because they're so sophisticated. And that's why they want to reverse engineer them, obviously. Just like Bob Lazar was working on it. You know, you've heard me talk about that. But here's where it even gets more interesting. Vegas, this is just a news story. Vegas maniac may have targeted classified government-run airline fuel tanks. So the interesting part about this is those fuel tanks that had the bullets in them were shot at. Those are the fuel tanks that fuel Janet Airlines. Wow. Now, if this isn't going to shock you, I don't know what is. You're going to find this very interesting. Most of you already know about Janet Airlines, and if you don't know, I'll tell you. Janet Airlines is the airline. It's a very secret thing. The planes are pretty much unmarked. They're very generic. They're highly protected, and they can go places that no other planes can go. They go to Area 51. They fly people in and out of this area of Las Vegas to Area 51, one of the most secret areas in our country, if not the most secret. This is where UFOs are. Aliens have been brought there. A lot of intriguing, interesting things go into Area 51 in areas like S4 and other undisclosed locations there. But so yeah, you see how interesting this is getting right here. So these fuel tanks targeted possibly because they are the fuel tanks used by Janet Airlines that go to Area 51. Nobody else is talking about this. And look at this picture right here. You can see this is just how close it is. You see those two fuel tanks? And there's Janet Airlines right next to them. Look to the left of the planes. Those are Janet Airline planes, and there's the fuel tanks right there targeted. And here's a picture of what the planes look like. They're very generic, as you can see. They don't have much wording or markings or anything on them. And they fly constantly, pretty much daily, I think, to Area 51, secret government area. And you can see right there, it says Believe, and that's right by the area where the concert was. That's right by the area where the Mandalay Bay Hotel is. That's how close these planes are, and that's how close those fuel tanks were that these airlines are fueled. Now, if it is that Paddock decided to target these before all this other went down, that would be simply because his mind was just blown away by his experience with the UFOs and aliens, and he just wanted revenge. He just couldn't understand and couldn't accept it, and he wanted to shoot these fuel tanks that he knew fueled the Janet Airlines planes, which of course we know go to Area 51 where the aliens and UFOs are. So that would be his motivation. His objective is a revenge thing for what he couldn't block out of his mind. So that's an interesting theory right there. Quite an interesting theory right there. And most people don't even know this. Here you see another picture. Those are all Janet Airline planes. Look how close they are. There's that pyramid thing and all that. That's Luxor. That's right there by Mandalay Bay. That's right there by the concert. And those fuel tanks fuel those planes that go to Area 51. And here's some more. You can see the planes there. Now, what's interesting also is I talked about Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar is one of the engineers that helped reverse engineer these craft at Area 51. And you see him pictured there. He went to areas like S4, where they had the aliens and the UFOs, at Area 51, and he worked there. He worked there, and he helped to try to reverse engineer. Now he came public, and he exposed this. And right after he did, the government went and they erased all of the history in regards to where he was educated, his college degree, and also the fact that he worked at Area 51. And they're doing the same thing in Las Vegas with things in regards to the hotel and Paddock checking in and all that. They're just wiping all that clean. And we already know that. But that's the reason they did it, because he was a whistleblower, so they wiped his records clean. Because they don't want people to know the truth. But you and I are smart enough to figure it out. Now, I don't have it right here, but I can tell you when I did the research on this man, he had his tax papers, his tax documentation, he had it with his name on it, proving that he worked at Area 51. Yet the government's saying he never worked there. But his tax documentation proves it. His annual tax documentation. And I found it, and it was a legitimate, very legitimate documents. So that proves right there who's telling the truth and who's not. But yeah, this is the area out there where they've had aliens and UFOs. Now I want to tell you this: the 2 jet fuel tanks Las Vegas gunman Stephen Paddock fired on from his Mandalay Bay hotel room Sunday are near a secret government-run airline, according to a report. Paddock fired at 2 fuel tanks at McCarran International Airport during the attack on Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival, but didn't cause any explosion. The massive fuel tanks are located very close to the secret fleet of passenger planes that make up Janet Airlines, which the government uses to shuttle workers to intelligence agencies outside like Area 51. Janet is based at McCarran International Airport, and its hangar is just behind a parking lot directly adjacent to those gas tanks. So you see just how close that is. It's when Janet flights cross from civilian airspace into restricted military airspace that things get really interesting. One of the places these Janet 737s go is located inside the airspace described as R488N on the map below the box on the container, as R488N is known, is off limits. It's restricted airspace within restricted airspace, and incursions into its sanctum which most unwelcome, and yet the unassuming white and red 737s are shepherded through routinely, where they disappear before reappearing after different lengths of time. So it's all very secret stuff, but I wanted to reveal this to you. If this isn't interesting, nothing is. It gets deeper, and this is certainly food for thought right there. Share this, like it. I'm going to keep bringing it to you. We need to know the truth. I'm going to reveal it to you.